Right, my thing includes no pictures whatsoever, just words. Because I thought everyone's going to be using pictures, so it's extremely minimalist. I'm talking about the state of the audience. It's anecdotal. I'm not going to quote statistics at you. It's based only on Anvil's experience, and everything that follows is therefore hedged around with caveats about the nature of our audience, our programme, the demographics of the catchment area. You may disagree with me completely. It would be quite fun if you did. We've noticed a change in audiences and their behaviour over the last few years. Tendencies that were already present seem to have been accelerated by the financial situation. People are worried, depressed. There are more demands on their household budget. Their income isn't keeping pace with inflation. The low interest rates mean that there is no return on their savings for older audiences, who in some art forms have been the bedrock of what we've done. And there are more demands on everybody's time as well. No, that's the next one. Never mind. They're cutting back on secondary spend. Programme sales are down. We've closed our catering operation in the Anvil and the Haymarket. Bar sales are down. The classical music and opera audience, which used to be good for gin and tonics, now have, in the interval, a cup of coffee and 4 straws, usually. They're spending less overall on tickets, not necessarily the amount per ticket, but the frequency with which they buy. The take-up of subscription schemes is also down. There are individual events that can sell out very quickly for high prices, but it's got to be for a known quantity. Behaviour during the performance has changed. People think they're in their sitting rooms watching a DVD, they text, they take phone calls, they eat pizza, they want to video the performance and upload it to websites. Lots of artists didn't like this, now lots of them do, and they're encouraging it. That's an interesting change there. People are more unreasonable. In the last year or so, we've had complaints, people asking for their money back because somebody came to a comedy show and the person next to them was laughing. They didn't like that. We've had a serious suggestion that we should only allow tall people to sit at the back of the audience. This is not what they want, not what we want. They're angry, and it's not much below the surface. They want somebody to blame. They want to invoke higher authority to try and force us to do what they want. They're always running off to, or threatening to run off to the borough council, the trading standards officer, the local MP. Audiences can also be complacent, and this applies just as much to the premiere of a contemporary opera as to the solid silver 60s. They often want to feel that they're at a performance with people like themselves as a tribal instinct, which has both positive and negative effects. And another change is that we now have a generation which has grown up in the cultural straitjacket of the national curriculum and lives in an age of less arts coverage in the mainstream media, which can mean that they have a narrower frame of reference, cultural reference, and background knowledge. They're less prone to experiment or sample unfamiliar things. The audience is fragmented, partly this tribal feeling, partly the internet catering for the niche market. Audiences for different events have little in common with each other sometimes, and are horrified to think of each other using the same building in terms of the Anvil or the Haymarket. And exactly as Anvil said, they're confused about, in some ways particularly about what to do and about the channels of communication to find out. They double up in terms of email lists, mailing lists, print, brochure, websites. They use them in different ways, but they duplicate what they're doing. They've yet to make the logical leap about what each one can do best. And sometimes they've got such information overload from all parts of their life, they don't read what is sent. Twitter and Facebook, social media are not necessarily the magical cure for falling ticket sales. They're sometimes portrayed as, although we did last month sell out an event in less than a day, and just using Twitter and Facebook. That is not for all situations. But, in spite of all I've just said, audiences are precious. It's good to remind ourselves of that over and over again. Audiences are precious. The arts don't exist for long without them. And they are also, hopefully, demanding. But in a good way. This is the flip side of being ready to complain. Our websites, our emails, our mail shots, our performances are judged against the leaders in their fields, not just on what we're able to produce with our budgets, Our customer service is judged against all experiences, not just their arts experience. Actually, this is good because it pushes things forward. They're eager for more, experiencing live performances like a drug. Once people have experienced it and enjoyed it, we can get them hooked. We have to act like the pushers to get them regularly coming to our stuff. And they are also interested in extra information, particularly around a performance, irrespective of whether they have bought a ticket or not. We can supply this extra information like never before. Podcasts, pre-post-show talks and discussions, blogs, video interviews, web links. Artists are more prepared to do it, and we have means of delivering it. The future won't look like the past, just as John said. We can't believe that in a year or two the pendulums will simply swing back and restore things to how they were. We don't know what the future will look like yet, but yes, audiences do still want the live and collective experience. You can wave your lighter on your own in front of a DVD in your sitting room. It doesn't quite have the same effect. I love Sarah's dinner party analogy. I think that's exactly right. It's that kind of two-way participation, and that's exactly what people want. We may have fewer resources, lower budgets, not so many performances, fewer audience development agencies to help us. We have more tools to contact people there. We have more content to entice them with. We have more chances and the impetus to collaborate. So let's be ready to get them out of their homes, into our venues, enjoying the work of our artists and experiencing great performance.